Hi CC families, this is your video for Cycle 3, Week 17, new memory work for our ABCdarians. And we'll start with timeline. So timeline began with Napoleon this week, so we're making a letter N in sign language. That's just two fingers over your thumb. So Napoleon, crowned, put a crown on your head, crowned Emperor of France. And do a little flourish with your F. This is an F for France. And then liberation of South America, you start with your hands crossed like you're in handcuffs and set them free, because to liberate means to set free. So the liberation of, and then make an A and move it, drop it down toward your waist. This is A for America, but it's the South America, so we're gonna move our hand south, right? So South America. The war, this is our sign for war, of 1812, and you kind of put your fists above each other and make them explode like a bomb. Lots of bombs were used in the War of 1812, and you can hear about bombs in our national anthem. The Star-Spangled Banner was written during the War of 1812, and it talks about the bombs bursting in air, doesn't it? So we'll do the War of 1812, the Missouri Compromise. You're going to point to your head and then bring your pointer fingers together in front of you, kind of pointing out, because a compromise is when you bring your thoughts and your opinions and kind of meet in the middle with someone else's, so you're kind of bringing them together. The Missouri Compromise, that was a compromise in our country's history in the early 1800s. Let me see if I have a year on that. 1820, that had to do with slave states and free states having equal representation in Congress. So the Missouri Compromise. Immigrants, put your left hand out in front of you, and your other hand is going to swoop and come up under. This is immigrants flocking, almost like a bird flying. Immigrants flock to America. Bring your hands, lace your fingers together, because people came from all over the world, different countries, together into one country. And then almost like you're stirring a big melting pot. All those people came together, and the United States is sometimes called the melting pot. So immigrants flock to America. The Monroe Doctrine, put your fists together and then spread them until you're holding almost the entire country in your hands, because this was the doctrine about the United States spreads from sea to shining sea, and it warned European nations not to come and try to take or claim any of that land. Do not come and colonize us anymore, because the United States is all of this land from one side of the country to the other. Romantic period of the arts was a time characterized by a lot of drama and emotion. So we're going to do fingers down and a sad face. Romantic period of the arts. Okay, kind of show the two extremes of emotion there. So that is how it goes. Napoleon, crowned Emperor of France. Liberation of South America. The War of 1812, the Missouri Compromise. Immigrants flock to America. The Monroe Doctrine, romantic period of the arts. Awesome. Math is next, and we learned about the area of a square. And a square is a type of rectangle that has all equal sides. So the formula to find the area is a little different from a rectangle. So we saying this. We put our arms kind of like this, and this was like the side of a square, and then the side squared. If you demonstrate with your child that if you take, let's say this was, 4 blocks across, if you have Legos or some kind of linking cubes at home. If that's 4, we've got a side here. If we take that and we make 4 rows up and down of that same size, that's what we're trying to convey here, of like we're taking that side and we're making a side up and down that's the same. And now it's filled in with 4 in each direction. So anyway, I think that's a fun thing to bring in with manipulatives and show what a square is. So the area of a square, a square, a square. The area of a square equals the length of its sides squared. Okay, so there you go for that one. History is about President Wilson. It says, tell me about President Wilson. We held up 7 fingers for 1917, just to help us remember the year. In 1917, President Wilson asked Congress, and I think we could add a C in here. We didn't have a sign during class, but asked Congress to declare war on the Central Powers. And we put our arms in the center of our bodies. 2 years after German U-boats, that's the sign for you, sank the Lusitania, killing American citizens. That's our hand over our heart, the way we do when we're doing something patriotic. So those are our history motions. And I have the song here.
Week 7, yeah. Killing.
In 1917, President Wilson asked Congress to declare war on the Central Powers. 2 years after German U-boats sank the Lusitania, killing American citizens. So for Latin, we used the song that we've been doing in morning assembly and just sang the section corresponding to John 1 verse 4. So in English, it goes like this. In him was life, and his life was the light of men. And in Latin, it goes like this. In ipsa vita erat et vita erat lux hominum. Okay, so we just practice echoing that back and forth. If your child is close to being able to read some of these words or recognize the first letters, I think a nice way to do this is to start to pair up words or phrases and kind of lay them out at home, match them up English to Latin, because all those vocab words that we learned in the first half of the year are coming back around now, like lux and light, and you can match those up. Hominum, man, are in this week's verse. So using that to review all that early vocab as well. So that's Latin. And then science, we are on the second 5 elements. And I just have these little flashcards. I could email these. I'm trying to think. I either got them on Facebook or CC Connected. I think Facebook. But they have a little bit of information, you know, the name, the number, the atomic mass, and the abbreviation, and a few places in nature where you might find it. So that's what I have to show in class. And this week, we're doing the second 4. So this is the song to the tune The Farmer in the Dell. B boron, nope, that's not it. 5 boron 11, 6 carbon 12, 7 nitrogen 14, 8 oxygen 16. You can sing and do the whole song together with the elements from the first, from last week, also the first 4. English is to go, the verb to go, and we sang this with our Twinkle Twinkle tune that we've been doing. So again, infinitive is our infinity arms. Present, we hold a present in front of us. Past is behind us. Present participle is a present in front of us again, and past participle. So to go, go, goes, went, going, gone, bye. We all waved goodbye when we sang that. Our rivers, this is to the tune, I've got a river of life flowing out of me. So I think we were trying to think of that in class today. What's that tune? And it's the rivers. So it roughly follows that tune. I don't know if I can see where I'm pointing and point, but the song goes like this. What are some rivers in the USA? St. Lawrence, Ohio, and the Mississippi, Missouri, Arkansas. And we're going to learn the second half next week when we do the western rivers in the United States. So we'll be ready to sing all of that together. We added a few more presidents today up through Ford, so keep practicing singing the presidents together. I hope as we get through the last of the presidents in the next few weeks, then we'll practice the whole thing and have some weeks to polish it up and sing at our end of year celebration. So I think that's everything. Our presentation for next week is to present on the letter R, or to find a tall tale and tell about it. So, something like Paul Bunyan or other early American tall tales were stories where something was really exaggerated, right? Like Paul Bunyan was this giant that all of his adventures shaped the land of the United States, and his axe dug the Grand Canyon and everything. So we know that's not true, and the Lord is the great artist that designed our terrain, but those tall tales are fun, and if you have one that you'd like to share for next week, that would be really enjoyable. Otherwise, bring something that starts with the letter R for us to guess. Next week is our last art project, and then we'll be in our last 6 weeks already and into the orchestra segment. So that's exciting too. That's everything for this week, I think. So have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.